It's September 1st, so you know what that means? Collection update. Okay, so we're going to start off with this beautiful little fella here, and of course that is my blue tongue skink, which goes by the name of Blu-ray. See if we can't get him to flick that little tongue out. Nah. So Blu-ray, like I said, is a blue tongue skink, an Indonesian blue tongue skink. These guys do make very good pets. You know, same long lines as like bearded dragons and whatnot. You know, just very personable and not very, you know, super energetic, but you know, nonetheless, they still have lots and lots of personality, and so that's what makes blue tongues one of my favorite lizards. We can get it to focus on him. He isn't very comfortable with this camera because it's, you know, got a great big old windsock on it and everything, so that freaks him out, but we won't keep him out for long. It's okay. It's not going to get you. So that's Blu-ray. Okay, so up next are my Russian tortoises. This smaller one here happens to be the male, and this larger one is the female. I was really hopeful that we might get some eggs from them this year, but no such luck. But then again, I'm new to breeding tortoises, so you know, probably just have to tweak some things, and then we will eventually get some babies from these two. But so yeah, that's the Russian tortoise. You know, this is full-grown female, full-grown male. Oh, come on. Very strong, as you can tell, and she's pushing off my hand pretty good, but he's pretty mellow. He just sucks up into his shell and you know, doesn't mind. But she is always wanting to be on the go, and so we're gonna put these back so I don't get pooped on. Okay, so what I have here is my northern pine snake. This big old guy's name is Oreo, and as you can see, he's got some pretty good size to him. Definitely a fun snake to have. He's just fresh out of shed, so he is looking very good. His colors are nice and bright and vivid, but definitely a fun snake to have. Definitely a favorite here on the channel. A lot of people love seeing him, and I don't blame him. He's a nice beautiful snake. As you can see, very handleable even for his size, and I don't know if you'll be able to hear, but he does hiss a lot, but don't be alarmed. That's just the little quirks of pine snakes to let you know that they are there, and it's nothing to be taken as aggression. So definitely a fun snake in my collection. Definitely one of my favorites for his you know, for that little quirk of personality, like I said. But so that is the pine. Let's see if we can't kind of unravel him a little bit more so you guys can get an idea of his size. He's somewhere around 5 foot long, so you know, pretty good size. I think they do get a little bit bigger yet, but let's step back and see if you can get the full shot. But definitely a fun snake to have in the collection. So let's put him back and move on to the next reptile. Okay, so the smallest snake in my collection that I currently own is this little fella here, and he is a California king snake. Of course, he is a high white abbreviated pattern. Definitely fun little snakes to own, and he also happens to be 100% het for albinoism. So, maybe in the near future we will find this little fella a female, and obviously once they get older we will try to produce some of those albino babies. But that's the little king snake. These guys also make pretty good pets, maybe more so the second snake you own, just because they're a little bit of king snakes can be kind of nippy, only because they think everything's food, and they just are extremely food oriented. But once you get handling them, like this guy obviously is not very, he's very handleable. He's not very agitated or anything like that. He is holding on to me, but that's only because he doesn't want to fall to the ground. But nonetheless, very, very good snakes. Another favorite, that's why I have it here in the collection. So yeah, so let's put this little fella back and let's move on to the next reptile. Okay, so up next are the two corn snakes that I own, and they both are hypo stripes, but this one here also being a lavender hypo stripe, a 3 gene mutation, and that happens to be the female. And both of these were hatched here, hatched by me. I produced them. I produced them, but I bred the parents, and these were 2 holdbacks from back in the day. And maybe one of these days, hopefully next spring, these 2 will be paired up, and we will test out. Now he may be, he is 66% chance het for the lavender. So we're gonna pair the 2, and we're gonna try to prove him out, and hopefully produce a whole lot more of these beautiful little hypo lavender stripe babies. But so that's the 2 corn snakes I have, and of course these are a fan favorite, a staple in the industry, because these guys make excellent pets. Especially if you've never had a snake before, look to the corn snake. Not only do you get a great personality, but you have a huge array of color and pattern mutations to choose from. So they're like the Skittles, you taste the rainbow with these guys. So that's why I love the corn snakes, and I will always have corn snakes represented in my collection because they are one of my all-time favorite reptiles. So let's put these 2 guys and girl back, and let's go take a look at the next reptile. Okay, so up next is this extremely beautiful and stunning albino Nelson's milk snake. I just love the vivid color of this, and let's see if we can't get the camera to focus more on him than it does on me. But yeah, so that is the albino Nelson's milk snake. I absolutely love his color combination. Just stunning in my opinion, and one day we will try to reproduce more of these little beauties, because we definitely need more beautiful snakes like this. So this one here is just a little fella. He will get, he's about half grown, and yeah, so I can't wait for that. He's eating really well, so I know it's not going to take long, but beautiful. I just love it, love it, love it, love it. So let's put him back, and let's move on to the next reptile. Alright, what we have here is one of 2 ball pythons that I do own, and this little fella here is my citrus pastel, low expression calico, 100% het for clown. So I don't know if we'll be able to, he's not really cooperating. He wants to stay in a ball. If we can pick up on his clown color, or his calico colors, excuse me, stumbling over my words. So that is a little male that I have. Very, very nice color contrast. I don't know if you can kind of see some of the calico markings along his side here that come up into the yellows, but you know, definitely a beautiful snake. And eventually I would like to get him worked into a clown project, but currently I do not own any clowns in the collection. So let's move on to the next reptile. So up next we have this beautiful snake, which is a favorite on the channel and also another favorite of mine. And of course that is the scaleless Texas rat snake. And you know, just as she grows, her color is just changing so much. I really like watching the progression of her, and man, in the last year she has really sprouted up in size. She went from like this three-toned colored animal from the burnt reds, and you know, ending up with like a straw yellow down here at the base by her tail, with saddles that were black, and in the core of that saddle it was red. Come back here. But as she has aged or is getting bigger, the red in the center has disappeared and the saddles are now solid black, and the beautiful burnt orange red is you know, exhibited a lot further down her body, with only toward the very tip of her tail do we see the remnants of the straw yellow. But nonetheless, she is a very beautiful snake. And to be completely honest, you know, when I first learned of the scaleless snakes and the colubrids, I really wasn't a big fan of the ideal of it. But since owning her, you know, I've changed my opinion 180. These guys make great pets. Everything about the snake is exactly like the other snakes that do have scales. I mean, she moves and acts exactly like them. The only difference is she just feels smooth because she has no scales. But she sheds, she eats, everything just as she should. You know, it does not hinder her thriving at all. So, you know, definitely changed my opinion. So that is the scaleless Texas rat. You can see she's a very calm snake. I had Texas rat snakes years ago, and man, they were just they were full of, well, they were interesting. Let's just leave it at that. But this girl is extremely friendly, definitely personal. You know, as you can tell, she's rather calm. So let's put her away and let's move on to the next reptile. Okay, so up next is my pair of Cinnalone milk snakes, and ironically they are both in blue right now, so we're not going to keep them out for very long because we don't want to stress them. But I just want to quickly show you that the Cinnalones here, very beautiful, very similar to the Nelson's milk snake as far as the looks go, but these are just the normal colors. And of course, you know, we already showed you the albino Nelsons, and that's what these guys also look similar to in their albino form. So that is the Cinnalones. Another good little snake. They're just a little bit of a spaz because, like I said, they are both going to be shedding, so we're not going to keep them out long. I just wanted to quickly show you these, and so you guys can get a good look at them. And so let's move on to the next reptile. Okay, so the next reptile I'm showing you is my little jungle carpet python, aka the Angry Noodle. But a very beautiful snake. I definitely love the colors, you know, how vivid they are, and you know, yeah, he's a little bit ornery, but you know, it's okay. He's just a baby. He thinks I'm gonna hurt him, and eventually we will get under the same ideal that you know, that I'm not gonna hurt him. So he's just afraid. It's nothing to be too concerned about, and we'll eventually build his trust. But so that is him, and he's another one that's really starting to put on some size in the last probably couple months. I can definitely notice it. I'm certain that some of you longtime subscribers probably are noticing it, but definitely a favorite in my group. I love the carpet pythons, and so I'm pleased to have this guy, even if he is a little bit ornery. So see if we can't get to focus on him. Go on. So you guys can see, you know, his coloration. Very, very beautiful. He's just cranky. I woke him up, so that's part of the reason he's a little bit more rambunctious today than usual. But you know, nonetheless, still a favorite of mine, and definitely glad to have one of these guys in the collection. So let's go ahead and put Grumpy Butt back, and let's go take a look at the next reptile. Okay, so the next reptile I'm going to show you here, and this is not a snake. This is my European legless lizard. See if we can't get to focus on him instead. So this is my legless lizard. These guys are fun little animals. It's kind of, if we could get it to focus on him. Let's get it. There we go. So that is the legless lizard. You can see he's got the ear hole. That's one of the things that makes him a lizard and not a snake. And of course, if he blinks that eye and you see that eyelid, that's also another characteristic that lizards have that snakes do not. But I really like this guy. He definitely, to me, kind of gives off that velociraptor type head look to him. And I don't know if you've just seen that eye blink, but yeah, there was his eyelid. And of course, if he were to stick out his tongue, it'd be a big old flat fleshy tongue like we know skinks have, and not a forked tongue like snakes have. But anyway, so that is the legless lizard. So let's put him back and let's move on to the next reptile. Okay, so up next is this big girl here. This is the second of two ball pythons that I have, and of course this is the albino ball python. And you can kind of see up here on the wall there is a big photo of her, as you know, she is you know, one of my favorites in the collection. She's been with me for a good number of years, and she's about to shed, so I had her soaking. So if you see water dripping off of her, that is why. But you can see she's her color is a little bit muted, and you can even kind of see on her eye is kind of fogged over. So we're not going to keep her out, so that way we don't stress her. But she is a pretty good sized girl, probably around 3 feet, maybe a little bit bigger. But you know, definitely one that was with me for a very long time. And now that I think about it, she's the oldest animal that I have in this reptile room. So that is her, and we've got one more snake. So let's put her away and let's get to the last one. Okay, so here is the final snake in my collection. And of course, this big girl is my Sunglow albino boa, and I've had her now for about 5 years, and she is she's around 5 foot, 5.5 foot long. She's got some girth to her, so she is kind of heavy to hold, and she too is also wet from also taking a bath, because I can't really provide them with a large enough water bowl in their cage for fear that, you know, they're just going to spill it and create a great big mess. So what I like to do is take them out and put them in a tub and put some water in there, so that way they can just totally submerge themselves and you know, just kind of bathe in the water, and they seem to really enjoy it. So I like to do it at least once a week to once every other week, just depending on how the schedule works and where they're at in their shed cycle. But she just recently shed, so it was more just for her to kind of just chill and take a nice warm long bath. So that is all the reptiles I have currently as of September 1st, 2017. So I want to thank you guys for sticking to the very end and watching all my amazing animals. And if you could, just hit that subscribe button, give me the old thumbs up, and go ahead and tell me which animal in my collection that you like the most down in the comments below. So till next time, later.
Shut up and sit down.